I am Great Mother, Holy Spirit, Yin, Divine Mother, Cosmic Womb, Deep Space. My intention here with the Great Mother Speaks Oracle deck is to offer support to grieve the mother you want so you can accept the one you have. Hi, I'm Tammy Taylor, the inventor and reader of the Great Mother Speaks Oracle deck. Anyone can become a reader. You can receive the readings obviously here, but also at greatmotherspeaks.info where my coaching work is displayed there. I specialize in mama drama trauma, a condition in which the mother projects unhealed aspects of herself onto her child, causing emotional and or physical trauma. In cases where she's unable, unwilling, or unavailable, sometimes she has simply transitioned to heal her own MDT. It is a cycle. Then loving detachment is required. Loving detachment is accepting what is, the mother that we have. So these readings, the intention is all about working with Great Mother lunar energy, the Holy Spirit, that still small voice, our intuition, our soul downloads, that balsamic moon that comes right before the new moon, working with that sense of ourselves, that spirit before we came into form, that made that soul contract with that soul that loves us enough to assist us in MDT's purpose. What is the purpose of having mama drama trauma? To evolve in self-love and spiritual independence. Now, grieving, now that is the process of letting go, is the process of releasing the toxic emotions in MDT of shame, blame, and guilt that perpetuated generation after generation. So that's my intention, is to support individuals in releasing those emotions in order for us to embrace our divinity identity. And if you've been listening and watching for a while, you know that in my coaching work here and individually, we work on our divinity, which is claiming we are dearly loved children of the great Mother, Father, God, who are never judged, condemned, or left alone. We're never judged or condemned. There are consequences for our actions. We do live in the physical realm. There are consequences. Good. We can perceive them as good. We can perceive them as bad. But karma is simply action. And for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction, but never judgment or condemnation. We are here to evolve. And with MDT, that's evolving in self-love and spiritual independence. So this Aquarius Pisces new moon is about cultivating clear boundaries. Now that sounds strange with Piscean energy, and its ruler planet in the western of Neptune right there in Pisces. But it's about that because of that very reason. You know, we have a lot going on with Mercury in Pisces as well. So the communicative downloads from high up are really wanting us to be clear on what is and is not important to you moving forward in your healing process. What is and is not okay with you in a life beyond MDT. There is life beyond MDT. I'm a witness. I have clients who are witnesses. There is life beyond mama drama trauma. And so what is and what is not okay with you now in that life you envision beyond MDT? Great Mother in this new moon wants you to be clear about what you are willing and able to give to relationships and situations in the next phase of your life. And so right now we are finally closing out an era of a nodal season, entering a new one, and that energy finally feels like a door is opening up. And so we're all in this kind of phase of anticipation. And as we are anticipating, Great Mother wants us to get in touch within and be clear about what we are willing and able to give to relationships and situations as we transition into this new phase. She wants us to do this by assessing the value. Assess your own value of your gifts, talents, abilities, time, space, and attention you give to things, and how you expend or use your resources, your gifts, talents, abilities. These are the unseen. These are the spiritual. These are the non-material resources that create all things. This is the Great Mother energy. She wants you to look and value your resources, your gifts, talents, abilities, your time, your space, your attention. How are you using them? How are you expending them to be healthy, happy, and whole? How are you using your resources to embrace your birthright? Remember, you can have $100, you can have $1,000, you can have $1,000,000, but if you don't put it to use, even if it's just to earn interest, it is as if you don't have it at all. So evaluation and inventorying all of this is supported with the energies of this new moon, as Great Mother brings a more balanced sense of self through this process, while Great Father activates our birthright to experience divinity as members of humanity. Remember, new moons, both the sun and the moon are in the same sign. And so we have this Aquarius Pisces energy that's really supporting a more balanced sense of self, a more real sized, a more real time sense of self with that Great Father, that solar, that material sense of ourselves to be activated in a life of health, happiness, and wholeness as part of humanity, owning that divinity identity as a living being in the world. So this Aquarius Pisces new moon kicks off a buildup until the July 2nd total solar eclipse. This is the beginning of that phase that builds up to that climactic total solar eclipse we have on July 2nd. So from now, with the Western Earth egocentric emotional moon in Pisces and Aquarius, the Vedic soul sign, and which precedes your Western moon sign by 24 degrees and is cosmologically correct based on the actual location of the stars in the sky and on the moon. Vedic astrology, Jyotish astrology, sidereal astrology is a lunar astrology. This Aquarius new moon is in the nakshatra of Shatabisha. It means 100 doctors. So we're talking about transitioning into conscious healing. It is in the beautiful stellar constellation that is also named 1,000 stars. It's kind of cloudy, It's so abundant with stars. And it's also called 1,000 flowers. It's a very beautiful constellation. It deals with healing. It deals with the challenges of healing. It deals with individuals who can heal, that are born under this nakshatra, that have challenges with cloudiness, placing boundaries, between themselves and others, internally and externally. Maybe some of those things that come up in your spread. But since November, your Vedic and Western moon signs have shared the same nodal or evolutionary houses when the nodal shift from Leo Aquarius to Cancer Capricorn in Western astrology aligned with Rahu and Ketu in the Vedic. So since November, we have shared the same nodes. However, this new moon marks Rahu and Ketu's entry into Gemini Sagittarius, the preceding house signaling the soul's intent to dive deeper into the emotional processing that it has been doing over the last 18 to 24 months and is ready to live by, through us, as us. So since November, we've actually had our nodes sharing the same energy, but now at this new moon, the Vedic has shifted to Gemini North Node. So this new spiritual foundation is fertile. Great Mother's guidance, this reading, therefore, supports the planting of seeds from this emotional harvest that are good, strong, and resilient enough to do the deep evolutionary work of this nodal season. Whatever we plant will surely grow. So we want to be really clear about what we are planting. So now into July, these readings will specifically support your process of reducing, abbreviating, and digesting your identification with MDT as a way of life. The critical 29-degree marker signals birth of what the soul has been processing over the last 22 months or so in your Vedic moon, with Jupiter at 29 degrees in Scorpio and Pluto at 29 degrees in Sagittarius. Emotionally, in the Western astrology, Mercury is in Pisces 29 degrees. It will be moving into Aries soon, very soon, but we have Uranus also 29 degrees at the onset of this new moon. That is, by the end of the new moon, will be in Taurus, where it will remain until 2020. So since your moon is cosmically syncing or ego soul aligning, it's best to approach this new moon as an extended balsamic moon phase for the entire lunar cycle. As far as MDT is concerned, plant wishes that seed your intention to consciously and completely release, remove, and withdraw from MDT identity, the shame, the blame, the guilt. Because following the July 2nd total eclipse, the cosmic calculus points to increased support to experience our divinity identity. So now is the time to consciously develop our abilities to distill our intentions for our personal benefit moving forward. Okay, so this is the contraction and extraction happening in 2019 I spoke of at the January eclipses, and will return to as we arrive at pivotal points throughout the year. The contraction is all about the lessening, the clarification that we're going through right now to just really distill those intentions, really get clear about our gifts, talents, and abilities, and how we want to use them and interact internally with ourselves as we relate to those things and how we evaluate them, and then with the world. And the extraction after July 2nd, the second half of the year, really benefiting from the work that we've done the earlier part of this year to move forward in the big 2020, lots in 2020. And so 2019 is the contraction extraction preparation period. Now, as this newly tilled soil lies fallow for this lunar cycle, we are integrating emotional information from the past with the help of Venus and Aquarius and Mars and Taurus in the Western. So simultaneously, we are taking a beat to contract essential intuitive wisdom with the support of these same signs in Aquarius and Aries in the Vedic. You know, there's some go between there, but energetically, we have, all of this fallow soil that is coming at the end and the beginning of the wheel here. So let's look at how this may be playing out for you this March, Aquarius, Pisces, new moon on the 6th, 7th. Scorpio, Sagittarius moon sign people, this is energy that is happening in your 4th house. So the house of home, of hearth, of physical grounding in the material world, and of the mother, how we relate to our mother, and how we relate to great mother has a lot to do with 4th house energy as well on many levels when we're talking from the moon house as opposed to the ascendant. So from your moon house, this is 4th house energy, Aquarius, Pisces. When we are doing, speaking of a new moon in Aquarius, Pisces is the Western moon. Aquarius is the Vedic. All new moon wishes are made from the Western moon sign. It is a request of the ego to align with the soul. We are asking for the energetic support of the cosmos from an egoic perspective, hopefully with the insights that we need to align with that cosmic calculus. The snapshot of the soul when we were born is our birth chart. Now, for readings, do the greatmotherspeaks.info on the bookings page. All of those moon sign readings are based on your birth chart, and these readings are done looking at your specific birth chart and what's going on with the planet. So you have a lot going on now, and what Great Mother is saying is that
Generally, this month, she's asking that we extend the balsamic phase into this entire lunar cycle for reflection and calibration of everything that we've learned over the last 18 months to 2 years. And for you, generally, mauve energy is what needs to really be integrated at this particular time before moving forward. Now, you're going to feel a surge of energy intuitively with the shift from Cancer to Gemini in Rahu in the Vedic astrology, the North Node, and from Capricorn to Sagittarius. The gut chakra is ruled by Mars. Now, Mars rules Scorpio and Aries. And the significance of that is that Scorpio is your Vedic moon sign. So this is a very specific message to your soul group as it relates to Great Mother encouraging you to initiate or continuing to pursue your MDT healing journey. Follow the yellow brick road. The yellow brick road in Great Mother Speaks Oracle deck symbolizes the healing journey of Mama Drama Trauma, as we see here. It is the journey when Dorothy meets aspects of herself emotionally, psychologically, and spiritually that need to be integrated within her in order for her to take her power back from MDT. Now, Mama Drama Trauma is perpetuated through a cycle of shame, blame, and guilt, which is associated with lost expectations as a result of the abandonment and the abuse experienced. And so the expectation is to have unconditional love, right? Is to have a mother, is to have the nurturance and the compassion. But when that expectation is not realized, someone has to be at fault, right? And so it's either the child or it's the mother. Either the child wasn't worthy or the mother is an unworthy mother. And so it goes back and forth, and that's how MDT is perpetuated. But as we travel along our yellow brick road, and we release the blame, shame, and guilt, the psychological, the emotional scars, the trauma of the experience, we begin to embrace our divinity identity. But before we get there, we have to deal with the heart chakra below energy, that yellow chakra energy of the gut. And that heart below chakra energy is where we process our emotions. Great Mother is saying that this month is an ideal month for you to do exactly that. With Mars, the ruler of the gut chakra, being in Taurus at this time, conjunct Uranus in your 6th house, which is all about karmic debt with the Great Mother Speaks Oracle deck. Of course, we talk about debt, disputes, and diseases, but the internal dis-ease, the internal debt, the karmic debt from that cosmic calculus of Mama Drama Trauma, the soul contract to evolve in self-love and spiritual independence. That chronic dispute that is cycled through the blame, shame, and guilt of MDT. This is what Great Mother wants you to do in terms of this waning gibbous moon energy, is to be thankful that you are on the healing journey. Share with others that you are initiating a healing journey. Those who are in your life that need to know that, hey, I'm at a place in my life where I'm taking responsibility for my life, and I am no longer expecting my mother to be or to give me anything that she cannot give. We cannot give what we do not have. And because Mama Drama Trauma is a cycle, our mothers don't have the love to give us that we want. Because she didn't get it. How can she give what she doesn't have? Yeah, that makes us mad, but that does not change the fact that she ain't got it. She ain't got it. It's like being mad at somebody because, you want $10 to go get something to eat. And yeah, that's your mama. She should feed you. But if she ain't got it. And that's where the guilt comes in that we feel. We feel guilty for asking mama for $10. And see, it just Follow the yellow brick road. Take responsibility for your life. What's bringing this up for you, Scorpio, Sagittarius, moon sign people, is that you are processing your emotions at this time. Another gut chakra card, but it's balsamic moon. And so what's bringing this up is balsamic moon energy, a confirmation that you do need this time to integrate, to calibrate what you've been feeling, what you've been working with over the last 2 years or so. This processing card is the every mother card. Every mother wants their child to be happy, healthy, and whole to the degree that she understands happiness, wholeness, and health. If she's not healthy, she's always sick. These are effects of the MDT showing up in her life. How is she going to, and we might always try a new diet. We try this, we try that, but it's brokenness from brokenness. And that's what's bringing this up, is that you are already beginning to process this. Okay, this is gut chakra. The Munchkin Land scene, which is before they start the yellow brick road, back there, Munchkin Land, is the gut chakra suit. And this suit has processing as its balsamic moon card, where, Dorothy has returned home, as she has asked in Munchkin Land to return home. And Aunt Emma's just looking at her like, yeah, I know, as she's telling her story. So what's bringing this up to take responsibility is that some of you are expecting your mother to co-sign on your yellow brick road. You're expecting her to believe your story about your experience and your feeling of abandonment, abuse, and to validate your emotions. Again, she cannot give what she does not have. Who validated hers? Who showed her how to do that? Who co-signed on her pain? Other than someone who was sharing, as Carolyn Mace, the medical intuitive, she calls it woundology. And woundology is how a lot of relationships are created and maintained. We live in a very wounded world. In my work, I posit that MDT is a planetary disorder. Because it's true, woundology, we connect with people through our wounds. Oh, this happened to you. Okay, I was adopted too. And I was, so I relate to your pain instead of your wholeness. So Great Mother's coming through with this real strong energy, because it's about to get live for you in your 6th house of this karmic debt as it relates to her and how it has spilled out into your life with disputes with other people, karmic debts with other people, this brokenness. It's about to get live because just in a few days, Mars and Uranus conjunct in Taurus is going to make some real changes as it relates to this karmic positioning for you. Now, what you may not see, this is gut chakra energy, and so you have all the Scorpion soul energy. And so it's just, I got to talk to you like a Scorpio. What you are not aware of is that your boundaries aren't strong enough right now those of you who feel that you cannot take responsibility for your journey right now, you don't realize that you're feeling that way because your boundaries aren't strong enough. What's okay and what's not okay, you're not clearly articulating that to people. You're not establishing emotional boundaries with people where you will only spend so much time with them, or not answer texts and that sort of thing, and let people know that, hey, I'm focusing on this right now. I'll get back with you at another time, or I would rather not continue this dialogue with you. Period. Can we conclude this relationship at this time? I'm focusing, my energy on other things. That kind of language is absent from your life. Those of you who are taking responsibility, and this month really is a month of integrating what you have consciously been learning over the last 18 months or 2 years or so, in your shadow position, is that you have boundaries, and now you are actually transitioning from one way of life into another as a result of having defined, established, and maintained these emotional and physical boundaries that you've developed through processing the reality that your mother is who she is. You are in a place of accepting who she is and accepting her limitations. And in your shadow position, just as Dorothy is leaving the farmhouse that has landed in Munchkin Land and crossing the threshold into the technicolor world of Munchkin Land, you are doing that with this very rapid energy of Uranus and Mars and Taurus right now. You are doing it also with the very rapid energy of Jupiter in Scorpio in the Vedic as well, in your first house. And so Jupiter rules Scorpio in the ancient Vedic astrology. And so first house energy for you with this lunar energy, your intuitive moon, your soul moon, is saying that you're ready to go forward. You have everything that you need to go forward. And if you don't feel that you do, know that you do. This message is a confirmation that you do. And so get with the program, because what you want is to transcend or transform the fear. Some of you are ready again to transcend the fear and to actually reground yourself. You are first quarter moon energy. You are making a decision to face the challenge and just to reroute yourself. Okay. Some of you are wanting to transform the fear at this particular time. It is so real and so present in your life right now. You're wanting that energy to be transformed into something else that you can use so that you can move forward on your yellow brick road to healing mama drama trauma. And the cosmic energies are here for you to do that, because what's supporting you is Ishtar, the prostitute. This is the full moon card. This month, the full moon is in Virgo. It is in Libra Virgo, Libra in the Vedic. Now, the prostitute card, this full moon card, is when Dorothy does return home out of guilt. And so those of you who do not realize, or up to now you didn't realize, that you have the support that you need to follow the yellow brick road, you are realizing that with this Jupiterian energy, Jupiter does rule the second chakra. And so again, Jupiter being the ruler of your soul sign is saying that it's time for you to exchange your energy, what Great Mother was saying, your gifts, your talents, your abilities, your time, your attention, your beliefs, these internal resources that are spirit substance that creates form. It's time for you to recognize your desire, second chakra, as worthy of manifestation. Shift the focus from the abandonment and the abuse and focus on your healing, your divinity. You are a dearly loved child of the Great Mother, Father God, who is never judged, condemned, or left alone. And you are being supported by this Jupiterian energy to expand in your true desires. Now, if you continue not to realize this, then the prostitute energy more than likely can manifest as an expansion of the exchange of your resources in ways that do not honor you, or that sell you out, or that continue to perpetuate a feeling of being used or unappreciated. So heed what Great Mother is saying, to utilize this expansive, this broad full moon energy, okay? Full moon energy, Libra, Virgo. Now, Libra is ruled by Venus. And so from now until the full moon, pay attention to Venus. Venus is in your third house. It's in, Venus right now, is in your third house. It is, the ruler of Libra, and the light of that full moon is going to bring to a climax some things that you may not be clear about right now. You may not be clear because you're processing. You may not be clear about exactly what your gifts, talents, abilities, the space, your internal space that you're using to form your beliefs, to transform your emotions. You may not be real clear about that, but this full moon is going to bring a lot of expansion, a lot of clarity with it if you don't have it now, is what I'm trying to say. Your present state of your ego soul alignment is that, you are ready to follow your yellow brick road. Some of you may be still fearful about that. This is the scene when Dorothy and the three approach the dark forest on the way to the witch's castle to retrieve the broom that Oz commanded they bring back to receive their wishes. Now, this go back home, I would turn around if I were you, that sort of thing. They continued beyond that. And so this is new moon energy, throat chakra energy. This is expressing your highest self despite appearances. And so many of you may be afraid to do that. And some of you are transcending that fear and you're expressing yourself anyway. Again, some of you don't realize you need boundaries, but those of you who are crossing into a new threshold, this is the threshold, this new moon threshold from the gut chakra, the heart below energy of action and confidence to the higher will of higher action, of the higher will being activated in your life. So determine where you are in this, because either way, the significance is doing the inner work to align with where you are this month. Why your soul wants to do its MDT healing work is because it wants to be reborn. It wants to be resurrected. It wants to experience this divinity. And that is our divine expression. It's our unique expression of being a dearly loved child of the great Mother, Father, God, who's never judged, condemned, or left alone. Are there consequences? Absolutely. That's why we have karmic debt. Karmic debt that's paid to us and karmic debt that we pay out due to past actions. Karma means actions. That's it. Our soul has had many lives. It has acted on many things, and it has done so unconsciously. But by embracing our divinity, we act consciously. And as we do that, we realize we're not condemned or judged. It's just that we are now consciously acting as a divine child, making conscious choices through a divine expression. And this balsamic moon is we are operating under a sense of intuitive download, of soul alignment, of soul syncing. And just as Dorothy is in this scene, one of the final scenes of the film, she's asking everyone as she returns, and all of these people are in her life above and below. Above on the yellow brick road through the healing journey with Oz and the Scarecrow and the Tin Man and Lion, and below on the farm physically in the black and white world. It's the same people. Okay, it's the same souls, the people that we interact with. We just manifested our divinities expressed differently in the material world. And there's a veil, that darkness with a little light. That's the balsamic energy. We have that veil, and we operate on that inner light. There may be more darkness that most people operate on, but with MDT, we have to tune into that inner light, because Great Mother speaks to us always, but it is always through the frequency of our moon sign and in the sign the moon is in at the time. So at this time with Aquarius Pisces energy, we have this fifth chakra energy, this throat chakra energy of expression. This is why your soul wants to do this work. Mercury is in Pisces at this time, which in the Vedic it's ruled by Jupiter. Okay, and so this is fifth house energy. And so this is very creative energy. And so your soul wants to recreate itself. Dorothy's asking people, you believe me, don't you? And so again, even though she's home after this healing journey on the yellow brick road, she's still asking for someone to co-sign for her, that she's had the journey that she's had. You do believe me, don't you? Sion M hadn't believed her. And so now she's coming back asking everybody, you do believe what I'm telling you? And your soul's saying, nobody has to believe you. Scorpio, Sagittarius, moon sign people. You've got this. That's enough. They're the same people. They don't have to, they were there, they just forgot. Okay? And so just keep it moving. Just keep it moving. Just trust yourself, know yourself. It'll all come out in the wash in the end. Just like, it is here. And on the yellow brick road, see? We're always living with souls that we've known before. You've been your mother before. You've been your mother's mother rather before, her husband, whatever. That's why we know that This contract is made between two souls that know each other really well and love each other enough to watch each other suffer through this excruciatingly painful evolutionary process. It must be done. Every soul must evolve in self-love. How else are you going to learn to love yourself if you're not forced to? In a reality of divinity. If the reality is we're divine and we're dearly loved, how are you going to learn how to love yourself if you're not forced to? That's why it's planetary disorder. It's not a planetary disorder from the standpoint of judgment or condemnation. It's a planetary disorder because this is the period in human evolution that many souls are learning this. How your soul wants to take responsibility for its MDT soul contract is by recognizing all is well. This is the Sula's full moon heart chakra card, and the heart chakra is the crossroads between the ego and the soul. The heart chakra is ruled by Venus, and again, Venus is in your third house, and so it wants to do this by realizing that regardless of whether or not you have the co-signage, particularly by your cousins, close relatives, neighbors, people in your immediate family, co-workers perhaps that you work closely with, realizing that your communication with them about what you're going through, about how you're aligning with your soul purpose to heal this, it's all well. They don't need to give you anything. It's more important for you to express your higher will and be authentic in your interactions with them. That's where we know all is well. Because this is the scene when Dorothy and the three go before Oz's throne and ask their wishes, not realizing they already have everything they need. Even as they're walking the yellow brick road before they arrive there, they don't realize they already have everything that they're going to ask him for. But oftentimes, it does require us to take responsibility for our journey before we can conclude it. We have to be the witness of our own lives and our own process, don't we? Before we can acknowledge it ourselves. And so that's what lifetime after lifetime is really about. And this particular time period for this lunar phase, your likely outcome as a result of doing this work is Ma'at, the Egyptian goddess of the scales. Now, the heart is weighed with the feather to determine the level of integrity, the level of sincerity of the soul. This is the soul sign, the third eye, which is ruled by the moon, ruled by Cancer. And so as we have moved from Cancer, the North Node in the Vedic, into Gemini, this North Node energy for you is seventh house energy. That is soul contract energy. And so we're talking about justice, the outcome this month of doing this internal work. There may be, for some of you again, who are still really struggling with fearful issues around boundaries, around how your energy is being used, around whether or not you're ready to walk into that dark night of the soul, to be reborn into your divinity identity. There may be some upset about this journey and feeling that maybe it's a bit overwhelming, maybe a little bit too much is being asked of you. How do I trust my intuition, which I wouldn't expect to receive from Scorpio Sagittarius. You're kind of born with an intuitive antenna, but nevertheless, that could be possible. But I think that for most people, the outcome is going to be a surprise for the rewards that I think it's going to be, let me say, not just surprise, because this is the scene when Dorothy and the three are really giving it to Oz about just being a man and not being a wizard. And so you may be at a point where you are ready to own the fact that you are doing your work and that your mother is not willing, able, or available to do her own work, and you are willing to move on from expecting her to be. Okay, I would put it that way. And that is the very definition of taking responsibility for yourself if you take the next step from that into embracing your wellness, that you have everything that you need to move forward in living your life beyond MDT. Thank you so much for watching, sharing, and liking. But above all and most of all, Great Mother loves you. And if you need any additional assistance, I do too. Get in touch at greatmotherspeaks.info and I'll be happy to do that. All the best this lunar cycle and in 2019.
Great Mother speaks. I am Great Mother, Holy Spirit, Yin, Divine Mother, Cosmic Womb, Deep Space, the Moon, Dark Matter, the Void, the Black Hole, Hathor, Isis, Diana, Mami Ishtar, Kali, Mammy, and Mother Mary.